believe is the correct pronunciation. All right, let's go ahead and start streaming over on YouTube. If you don't mind and you can't, Abby-hoo. Okay, all right, here we go. Let's go. We're going to do this thing. Hey, Bert, how are you?
I'm well, thanks. A long time.
I know.
So the Hebrew names, you can always put the emphasis on the second to last syllable.
Oh, okay.
Baruch,
Abihu.
yeah, Shlomo,
Okay.
David,
Shlomo.
yeah,
Crystal. I don't know. Ben, if you want to come up, come on up. Any of our friendlies that want to come up today, we're going to start at 9. I can't remember if we did it or not, but I like going over them again sometimes, especially if Bert or Rabbi Han are here, because they always give us some fresh insight. And then we're going to read about Nadab and Abihu, okay? One day I will learn Hebrew and then I'll be so much better at these things. Okay, Solo. So, we can't say anymore all the things we used to say when we would do a commercial. They don't want us to say stuff like that. So, I'm not going to say it, but, you know, there's goals. And if you can help us reach our goals, that would be amazing. I don't know. I think that they don't mind you mentioning it or something, but a friend of mine was flagged recently, even though nobody mentioned it. So it was kind of weird. I don't know.
Bizarre world.
All right, let's get started. I'm going to start reading in chapter 9. And Bert, I'll go paragraph by paragraph. I'm in the NRSVUE. And then if you have any input, just let me know what you have, because you know I love it. Okay, here we go. On the 8th day, Moses summoned Aaron and his sons and the elders of Israel. He said to Aaron, "Take a bull calf for a sin offering and a ram for a burnt offering, without blemish, and offer them before the Lord. And say to the people of Israel, take a male goat for a sin offering, a calf and a lamb, yearlings without blemish for a burnt offering, and an ox and a ram for an offering of well-being to sacrifice before the Lord, and a grain offering mixed with oil, for today the Lord will appear to you." They brought what Moses commanded to the front of the tent of meeting, and the whole congregation drew near and stood before the Lord. And Moses said, "This is the thing that the Lord commanded you to do, so that the glory of the Lord may appear to you." Then Moses said to Aaron, "Draw near to the altar and sacrifice your sin offering and your burnt offering, and make atonement for yourself and for the people, and sacrifice the offering of the people, and make atonement for them as the Lord has commanded." Okay, what do we got there?
Well, I was just going to say, like, putting it in the context, chapter 8 was the dedication of the priests and the elevation of the priests. And funny enough, you have one of the first mentions of somebody who is called Mashiach.
Okay.
And so, like, you have your first Messiah in the Bible.
And what verse is that?
Well, it's not in this particular section, but it's at the beginning of the anointing of the priests.
Okay.
And it helps us to understand what this anointing or Mashiach is supposed to do. But the other thing is, you'll notice that the 8th day is here. This is sacrificial language that's being used to describe the elevation of the priests. So you're supposed to think of the priests as sacrifices in some ways, and 7 is the number of completion, but 8 is the number of resolution. So where the priests were the sacrifice on days 1 through 7 of the ordination of the priests, now they are responsible in the 8th day to perform the sacrifices themselves.
Now, I'm sorry, I had to jump out and join back in. Is this the particular part of Leviticus where there's some sort of question or maybe some ambiguity there as to what it meant by offering up the firstborn to God. Are we in that part?
I think it's a little bit later, but it's relevant in the sense that the eighth day is when an animal is available for sacrifice, and that's why the circumcision also is sacrificial language. It's in the same. You're right. I think if that's what you're picking up on, yes, that's 100% related to this.
Okay. All right.
Okay, anything else there?
Yeah, there was one other thing, but I'm blanking on it now. Oh, this is a recapitulation of the priestly ordination series in the middle of Exodus. So this ritual is prescribed in Exodus and then is carried out in Leviticus.
Hmm. And what significance is it of that? Like that is prescribed in
What,
Exodus and then carried out?
well, I think that's a good question. I think only to say that like there is intertextual connectivity. Like they got the command in Exodus during the Sinai moment, and now they're doing the command thing here. I think it's more just to show connectivity between Exodus and
Okay.
Leviticus, and
Okay.
probably connectivity of authorship as well. That's all.
Gotcha. Hey, if you're friendly and you're just joining us, I see Believe When Reality and Sarah. You guys can come up. We are Non-Believers Bible Study. We meet every Wednesday. I've been off a couple of weeks, but we are in Leviticus chapter 9. We're on verse 8 now. Aaron drew near to the altar and slaughtered the calf of the sin offering, which was for himself. The sons of Aaron presented the blood to him, and he dipped his finger in the blood and put it on the horns of the altar. And the rest of the blood he poured out at the base of the altar. But the fat, the kidneys, and the appendage of the liver from the sin offering he turned into smoke on the altar, as the Lord commanded Moses. And the flesh and the skin he burned with fire outside the camp. Anything that we should know about that portion?
Yeah, I mean, if you read Jacob Milgram's Leviticus, it's obviously he didn't write Leviticus, but he wrote a book that he called Leviticus. It's about
Right.
Leviticus, how to understand it. Yeah, he describes the blood. I don't know what I'm allowed to say, but
Just say
the yeah, he describes the blood as spiritual detergent, which I think is a gross
it.
kind of
Oh,
image. Also,
that's
my
weird.
mom would like be so pissed if I like got like blood all over my white clothing. Can you imagine? Like, Mom, it's just spiritual detergent. Like, what's wrong
Right?
with? Yeah. Also, try explaining why there's a small animal that's unalived in the backyard. Jeez,
Yeah.
not
We
funny.
talked about this a little bit before I left, and about the use of blood and how like it is considered to cleanse,
Hmm.
and how silly that is when in reality we know that there are so many diseases that are transferred through blood, and that it is not, it does not cleanse, indeed.
Well,
Hmm.
And we were
well,
talking
as long as you
about
put it on your toe. As long as you put it on your toe and your earlobe, you're fine.
yeah, yes. And we talked about how, in reality, this is probably because people saw it as a life force. They were like, "This, we know that blood
Yes,
is very
exactly.
important, and it is our life force." And so, yeah, we were discussing that. Then he slaughtered the burnt offering. Aaron's son brought him the blood, and he dashed it against all sides of the altar. And they brought him the burnt offering piece by piece. And the head, which he turned into smoke on the altar, he washed the entrails and legs, and with the burnt offering, turned them into smoke on the altar.
So, Mary Douglas, who wrote the book Leviticus's Literature, explains that Leviticus is a series of analogies, And one of the most pervasive analogies is Mount Sinai, as like the everything is Mount Sinai basically. And so the tabernacle itself is Mount Sinai turned on its side, and the sacrificial offering itself is Mount Sinai. She says that the legs, if you know what I mean, are the top of the mountain, the Holy of Holy, the genitalia, um, and I would argue that the head or the throat is the Holy of Holies, but she's saying that by stacking these things up on the altar, it is recapitulating the Mount Sinai story as well.
Wow.
Just
Is
out of
she the one? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're fine. You're fine. Go ahead.
I just want to ask, is she the author that also thinks that you guys should revisit Mount Sinai because women were left out?
No, that's Judith Plaskow, but that's great. Nice memory.
Um,
Go ahead.
so Rav, is it Rav or Ravi? I'm sorry, my vision's blurry.
Yeah, so it's kind of a pun. So Rav is one. It's a short way of saying rabbi, but it also means abundance, and kavod means respect or honor. So it's like rabbi respect or abundance of respect.
Okay. All right. Just out of curiosity, you seem like you're fairly knowledgeable on this stuff. I was just wondering what your credentials were. Are you an actual like rabbi or a biblical scholar of sorts?
Yeah, so I have a rabbinic ordination, a master's in Jewish education, a master's in Hebrew literature.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Have you never met? Have you?
Yeah.
You guys haven't met before?
No, well,
I think we've crossed paths, yeah.
I think we've crossed
Oh,
paths.
okay.
I've seen him up on like Justin Deconstruction zones. Like he'll have people like over like double teaming at times. You know, sometimes it's
I'm sorry. I would have introduced you though because
No,
you're both
no.
friends of mine, and I didn't know you hadn't met before. He's also known as Bert, and this is Solo. And yeah, you guys are both amazing. So I'm glad you're meeting like more today.
awesome. Yeah, go ahead.
Mm-hmm. Good to see you.
Okay, so anything else there?
Also,
Did
Mary
I
Douglas's
leave a-
Leviticus's oh, sorry, I was just gonna say Mary Douglas's Leviticus literature is available for free online as a PDF. So
Is it
Okay, cool.
Is it customary back in those times for there to be like a blood sacrifice, or is this something that's just specific to this particular group of people?
yeah, sacrifice is pretty widespread. I think what's unique is how the sacrifice was perceived by the Israelites. They thought that they were supposed to be the ones enduring the sacrifice, and that whatever their transgressions were against their systems of law, that was what was creating pressure on this kind of totemistic system, meaning like they believed that they were a part of the nature of the land. And so if they were to transgress against the law, it might make the rains not come at the right time and so on. And so by creating pressure on the system, that pressure needs to be alleviated, and it was through the sacrifice that they understood that.
Okay.
Okay. We're verse 15, I believe. Next, he presented the people's offering. He took the goat of the sin offering that was for the people and slaughtered it and presented it as a sin offering like the first one. He presented the burnt offering and sacrificed it according to regulation. He presented the grain offering, and taking a handful of it, he turned it into smoke on the altar, in addition to the burnt offering of the morning. Anything we should know here? I haven't had very much personal commentary this morning. I think I'm over all of Aaron and all of these offerings. I think I'm over this story right now.
Well, I thought it was kind of funny. First, we're getting started. You're like, well, let's see. We're in Leviticus, and then you went blood sacrifice, blood sacrifice. And I was like, yep, that sounds like Leviticus.
It really does. Okay.
You're going to get some divine redemption there, Crystal, in about 6 verses. So
I know. I really want to read this next story. I want to get into it. Okay. He slaughtered the ox and the ram as a sacrifice of well-being for the people. Aaron's sons brought him the blood, which he dashed against all sides of the altar, and the fat of the ox and of the ram, the broad tail, the fat that covers the entrails, the two kidneys, and the fat on them, and the appendage of the liver. They first laid the fat on the breast, and the fat was turned into smoke on the altar. And the breast and the right thigh Aaron raised as an elevation offering before the Lord, as Moses had commanded. Anything we need to know about that paragraph?
Just imagine like literally the elevation offering is just the fact that he holds it up above his head. And I'm just like, that's like so like, I have the meats.
Yeah. And I don't know, like, how big, like, this is an ox breast, right? Is this an ox breast? Is that what we're talking about? But, like, I don't know.
It's a ram's.
A ram's breast. So I don't know how big of a slab of meat he's holding up, but it just does seem a little arbitrary. Just saying.
Okay. I was gonna say arbitrary or Arby's. Like this feels like a great Arby's commercial.
Arbitrary.
Yeah.
Aaron lifted his hands towards the people and blessed them, and he came down after sacrificing the sin offering, the burnt offering, and the offering of well-being. Moses and Aaron entered the tent of meeting, and then came out and blessed the people, and the glory of the Lord appeared to all the people. Fire came out from the Lord and consumed the burnt offering and the fat on the altar, and when all the people saw it, they shouted and fell on their faces.
Oh. God loves a good pyrotechnic display.
He does, doesn't he? There's nothing extra about Yahweh. I'm just saying. All right. Now we're going to get into this story that I had only reheard recently. And it's one of those stories that makes me go, what did I say to myself when I was a Christian about this? Because I don't know. It's just another story that I think, why? Okay. Now Aaron's son, Nadab and Abihu, each took his censer, put fire in it, and laid incense on it. And they offered unholy fire before the Lord, such as he had not commanded them. And fire came out from the presence of the Lord and consumed them, and they died before the Lord. Then Moses said to Aaron, this is what the Lord meant when he said, through those who are near me, I will show myself holy, and before all the people, I will be glorified. And Aaron was silent. Okay, so I just want to get this straight, okay? So two of Aaron's sons, does he have more than two?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, two of Aaron's sons, okay, were not told to do anything. They preemptively go and do this, and because they did it out of turn, so to speak, they are burned alive.
So there's a couple, yes, and there's a couple interpretations that I think are helpful, maybe. So if you look back at 9:24, the end of this kind of scene of like Moses and Aaron, they're out there, and all the people saw and shouted and fell on their faces. The whole nation like saw how powerful this sacrifice was, and they were witness to this, and it was amazing, and so the kind of explanation is that like Nadab and Abihu were like, I want some of that glory too. Like, you mean Dad gets to do all this cool stuff? I'm gonna go up there too. And by the way, Nadab and Abihu are also priests, right? They're the sons of Aaron. And I should say Nadab literally means volunteer, and Abihu literally means like my father is him. He is my father. And so you might read into that a little bit. And then the idea of Eish Zara, or alien fire, or I don't know, how's your translate it? Strange fire, maybe?
On in 24?
10:1.
Or Oh, 10:1. Put fire in it and laid incense out. Oh, unholy fire.
Unholy fire. Okay, so like literally it's Aish Zara. Zara is like um, we say avodah zarah when we're talking about like idol worship or foreign worship or something like that. Um, like foreign meaning like unsanctioned worship. And so like the idea being that it was done in a way that was not for God but for themselves. I don't know if that's like worthwhile, but
Okay, so what was not for God? Wait, what? So what was not for God but was for themselves? Like they were doing it for glory for themselves and not for
exactly.
God.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
so
Hmm.
they okay, but
Yeah, I'm finding it. I'm. I guess I don't understand. I understand that they're doing it for themselves, but it's just so bizarre. This story seems very contrived. Like just like it,
Hmm.
they needed a reason uh, for God to show that His temple was not going to be, or temple or tabernacle or whatever, is not
Hmm.
going to be desecrated, and so they just sort of just it seems like arbitrarily put these people in there to do something to receive a quick punishment, but we don't really
Hmm.
know what a motive would have really been like for Aaron's sons to do this. It just seems really, and maybe that's the point of the story, is just to show, look, this is not how you're going to treat the tabernacle, and you know,
Well, and
that's where.
also the follow-up story to this is that everything is random. That everything is uh, that everything is up to chance. That the time and mischance happen to everybody, right? So to your point, like if we don't know what the reason is that you know we don't know why it was Ishtar, we don't know why it was alien fire, and we don't know why God reacted this way. Like that is then further affirmed in the scapegoat ritual that happens. Cyber, what's up, dude? Um,
Hello. I don't have very long because I am at work. So and
okay.
Amazon packages don't deliver stuff. But Crystal, I wanted to thank you so much for reaching out to me. It means a lot. It means a
Really?
lot. It does. So thank you so much for reaching out.
Of
But I'm
course.
but I'm good. I'm healthy. Let me tell you, a month of kidney stones and or a kidney stone and a stent is not fun. But I will be
No.
starting to go live again on Monday.
Are
drink
you
lots
guys
of water.
still doing your podcast together, you and Jaren?
We will start that back up. I don't know if we'll start it up this Thursday or next Thursday, but we will be starting it back up.
Okay, so what I want to do is do a decon Q&A with CrystalJae with both of you. I sent you guys a message, so check Discord and TikTok. It's in there somewhere, okay? Because
Okay.
I want to get together and let people know about your podcast.
All right, we'll do. As I gotta get back to work. Thanks everybody.
Okay,
Everybody
bye,
here.
Cyber. Good to see
Goodbye.
you.
And how you doing, Rabbi? Oh, he just mutes. He just mutes. See, this is what happens when
Rap.
you're an atheist Jews. Rabbis just say nope.
He's getting a phone call. Hey, Lobes, how are you today?
Hey, I'm good. I'm sweaty. Just finished cutting the grass. What's up?
It's a hot day here. I'm in SoCal. I don't know where you are, but it's hot here.
It's hot. Upper 90s over here.
Yeah. I'm gonna wait a minute for Rabbi to come back because I do want to ask where. It's like he's quoting, but somebody because it says this is what the Lord meant when He said, and then he quotes something. I want to know what's that quoting. You know.
Like
But
he's trying to explain some context or something, but he's like I
yeah,
guess he's
it
looking it
says
up.
this is what the Lord meant when He said, "Through those who are near me, I will show myself holy, and before all the people, I will be glorified." So, what verses is that a quote from? Because it's acting like it's a quote from a previous verse or something. But yeah, we'll have to give Rabbi a minute here. You guys, I cannot tell you anything. I can't tell you anything, but I can point to stuff. So if you haven't done these things that I'm pointing to, if you could do these things that I'm pointing to, that would be great. Also, I can ask you to subscribe. And when you subscribe, the things you get is, well, first of all, you get subscriber only lives and subscriber only videos, and we're going to have a lot more of that coming up. So, and you get to have great stickers. If you're a subscriber, drop some stickers in the comments, show everybody. I bring you Decon Q&A with CrystalJae, and Lobes is going to be one of my guests in August. Also, Saturday, 9 a.m. Pacific time, I will be having the wonderful Dr. Blitz live with me right here on Decon Q&A with CrystalJae. Well, Rabbi, how are you today?
I'm sick. My mom, I caught something from my poor mom, taking care of my mom. But I was gonna say, so you can still ask for the stuff, but you can't ask for it the way we used to. So you can say, if you love the content, let me know. Tap that screen. If you're here for the first time, let me know in the comments. If you want this kind of stuff to continue, this kind of education, but you can't say things like, if you don't tap, we'll turn off the comments.
Gotcha.
So you can't do that. You can still say, hey, welcome in. Let me know you're here by doing this, or tap the screen. Let me know you love the content I'm bringing you.
If you love the content, I have a gift goal and I have a subscriber goal. And subscribing is less than a cup of coffee a month. So
I went over heavy with my agent a couple days ago, because I was like, okay, I need to know, because these are things that I do. And he's like, no, he said that's actually never changed. It's been like that since 2019. He doesn't know why suddenly people are like, you can't do this. You're just not supposed to be like, I'm going to turn off the comments. Mostly he said the changes were about music and things like that.
Okay.
But you've never been able to try and solicit by saying, you must do this, or if you don't do this, or like, be like, I'm really, I need it, that kind of stuff.
Oh, okay.
Also, what verse are you on?
I am on chapter 10.
Because I saw Bert step down.
Yeah, I'm on chapter 10, and we're at verse 3, and he quotes something here. But what is he quoting?
Leviticus, hold on a second. Leviticus 10:3?
Mm-hmm.
All right, give me just a second. Let me grab it.
So, you guys, if you do like the comment, please do all the good things. Say hi in the comments. Share out the live. Tap the screen. And I do have a gift goal, and they're just 1 coin each. So, try to help me reach the gift goal by the end of the live. That would be great. I know we don't have a lot of people in here. I have been gone for a couple weeks, and so I don't know if people even realize I'm back yet. Hey, how are you?
Yeah, I'm pulling it up right now.
No problem. No problem.
So, yeah, okay, hold on a second. Yeah, so it's not a direct, this isn't actually a direct quote from an earlier verse.
Okay.
It's like a paraphrase or summation of like divine expectation. So like not a verbatim quote from any prior like verse of the text, but it's God saying, it's like the Torah records God saying this exact thing. It isn't like that.
Okay.
Here Moses is like interpreting, kind of reframing the tragic event theologically, perhaps drawing on general themes of divine holiness, like we'll see later on or like we see in Exodus 19:22, or even Leviticus 8-9, but not quoting this specific line. Like Rashi would note that Moses had previously been told that God would be sanctified through those closest to him, but not had known who that would be. Again, because Jews don't have this idea of omni anything. So Moses had been told, but God had not like revealed who it was going to be, and then now it happens. So Rashi would attribute this to like a non-specific divine communication, like an oral or
Okay.
prophetic understanding, but not one that is like in words that are written down. So like it's attributed to God, but it is not recorded in the text.
Okay.
I don't know if I just
All right.
made sense there.
No, you did. You really did. That helped me a lot. All right. Going on in verse 4. Moses summoned Mishael and Elzaphan, sons of Uziel, the uncle of Aaron, and said to them, "Come forward and carry your kinsmen away from the front of the sanctuary to a place outside the camp." They came forward and carried them by their tunics out of the camp, as Moses had ordered. And Moses said to Aaron and to his sons, Eleazar and Ithamar, "Do not dishevel your hair and do not tear your vestments, or you will die, and wrath will strike all the congregation. But your kindred, the whole house of Israel, may mourn the burning that the Lord has sent. You shall not go outside the entrance of the tent of meeting, or you will die, for the anointing oil of the Lord is on you." And they did as Moses had ordered. Why were they not allowed to grieve the way they normally would grieve?
I'm looking at it right now. Give me just a sec. You're on
All right.
4, right? Yeah, here we go. Let me go over it one more time.
Yeah.
Carry your kinsman away from. Okay. Oh, so part of it is like Mishael and Elisan are Levites. They're not priests, but they can.
Okay.
They are permitted to come in contact with the unalived. So that's there. So like the disheveled, like the vestments, those are signs of mourning, but also could be signs of like uncleanness. So even though Eleazar and Ithamar are the surviving sons of Aaron, and they should have been permitted to mourn their brothers, they were on duty. So they were assisting their father
Okay.
in the performance of like the sacrifice, and had yet to eat the sacred like food. So moreover, like they were anointed in contrast to their priestly successors. So they were forbidden to mourn at that moment because the anointing oil of the Lord was upon them. So they were acting in their duties, so they could not mourn until after they were washed, they had washed and bathed.
Okay. Sola, if you have any questions or anything or commentary, you just pipe in, okay?
Nope. I'm good for now. Yep.
Okay. And the Lord spoke to Aaron, "Drink no wine or strong drink, neither you nor your sons, when you enter the tent of meeting, that you may not die. It is a statute forever throughout your generations. You are to distinguish between the holy and the common, and between the unclean and the clean, and you are to teach the people of Israel all the statutes that the Lord has spoken to them through Moses." Okay. Drink no wine or strong drink, neither you nor your sons, when you enter the tent of meeting. Forever. Like forever, nobody should be drinking. Like,
You can't.
and
No, when it says strong drink or wine, it's saying you can't be drunk.
right. Oh, so you can't be drunk, but only when you're in the meeting.
Tent
place,
of
right?
meeting.
Like,
Yeah, because you're
tent of
supposed
meeting.
to like the tent of meeting is supposed to be where the Shekinah talks to you. And so like you aren't supposed to disrespect her by being drunk in her presence. Which is funny because now we have a bunch of holidays where all we do is get drunk, and like we do. Passover, you got to drink 4 glasses of wine without eating. Purim, literally the law says you're supposed to drink so much you can't tell the difference between here and the hereafter. So like, yeah, I always find that kind of amusing that we now celebrate with drinking. But
let me say something to chat real quick. Wild and Free does say in the tent of meeting, it says, "And the Lord spoke to Aaron, drink no wine or strong drink, neither you nor your sons, when you enter the tent of meeting." So it does say specifically not the tent of meeting.
The tent of meeting.
To me, like ex-Christian, putting some Christian goggles on, the tent of meeting would be the same as our sanctuary to us. And I'm just saying, there's a lot of people who go ahead and, drink a little bit too much, looking at some priests. I'm just saying that, and come to church.
Somebody got
dressed.
into the sacramental wine.
Quite often, Father, what was his name? Father Keller. I remember, and I wasn't Catholic, but you were the priest at our local Catholic church. Okay, Moses spoke to Aaron and to his remaining son, Eleazar and Ithamar. Take the grain offering that is left from the Lord's offering by fire and eat it unleavened beside the altar, for it is most holy. You shall eat it in the holy place, because it is your due and your son's due from the offerings by the fire to the Lord, for so I am commanded. But the breast that is elevated and the thigh that is raised, you and your sons and daughters as well may eat in any clean place, for they have been assigned to you and your children from the sacrifice of the offerings of well-being of the people of Israel. The thigh that is raised and the breast that is elevated they shall bring, together with the offerings by fire of the fat, to raise for an elevation offering before the Lord. They are to be your due and that of your children forever, as the Lord has commanded. Is there something that we should know about those particular verses? I'm sorry, let me address one thing really quick in chat. Why aren't you? You can check I have posts on it. You could go check that. I thought you asked why I wasn't talking to a Christian about the Old Testament. I got confused. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so in this, so the sacrifices also were used to sustain the priests of, the Aaronic priesthood. So because this is all they did. They didn't have like another job they did. They weren't like farming or out hunting. So part of the sacrifices that are brought to Aaron and Aaron's line are to sustain the priesthood physically. So they're allowed to eat of them. But when it says any clean place, it's saying, hey, this you can only eat here, but this other stuff, as long as it's a clean place, it has not been defiled, you may eat wherever.
Okay. Then Moses made inquiry about the goat of the sin offering, and it had already been burned. He was angry with Eleazar and Ithamar, Aaron's remaining sons, and said, why did you not eat the sin offering in the sacred area? For it is most holy, and God has given it to you that you may remove the guilt of the congregation to make atonement on their behalf before the Lord. Its blood was not brought into the inner part of the sanctuary. You should certainly have eaten in the sanctuary as I commanded. And Aaron spoke to Moses, see, today they offered their sin offering and their burnt offering before the Lord, and yet such things as these have befallen me. If I had eaten the sin offering today, would it have been agreeable to the Lord? And when Moses heard that, he agreed. I don't understand what they're saying.
Okay. No worries. Oh, sorry, okay. So basically what we're saying here is that, like, where am I? I gotta go back.
This was 16.
Okay, so 16. Oh, that here we are. Why am I on the wrong spot? Okay, 16. So, where am I? Like, oh, okay, hold on. I see where I'm at. Why am I? Okay. Okay, so it goes like this: purification offering, like what you also called, I believe you said, sin offering. The purification offering has to be eaten by the officiating priest, so one of them, namely Aaron, and what he cannot finish must be eaten by the rest of the priests, namely, of course, his sons, Eleazar and Ithamar. Moses may have become angry because of the reluctance of the priest to eat the sacrifice, and that could give the impression that they were afraid of the harm that might befall them if they ate impure meat, because that was part of this sacrifice. So removing the guilt is to remove like the iniquity of like ingesting like the purification offering. So the sacrifice is the counterpart to the idea of the high priest's like golden ornament, just like as the ladder symbolically draws the impurities of Israel's sacred offerings. So basically what is happening here, let me get back up to where I was. Okay. So basically, Moses is mad because they're supposed to eat this, and part of that eating is what finishes out the ritual of helping to purify the rest of everyone. They were like, we haven't done that, because, and it kind of gives the impression that we're not going to do that because we're afraid of eating this meat, because even though it's an unblemished animal, because it's offered as a sin offering, it's then seen as possibly impure itself. It's not, but it might be suggesting that Eleazar and Ithamar thought that way and didn't want to eat impure meat. But here's Moses saying, hey, God told you to do this. This is the whole point of what you're supposed to be doing, and you're not doing it. You're supposed to have done this in the sanctuary like you were told. And then Aaron's like, they offered the purification offering and their burnt offering, and I have done the same thing, and like nothing has really happened to me. But like, if I had done it, if I had just eaten it, would that been okay? Like if I had done it in place of my sons? And Moses is like, yeah, if you had done it, it would have been fine, but clearly your sons did not, and that's not okay. I don't know if I explained. I'm a little hopped up on the goofball, so.
No, I think that explained it for me. Because I couldn't understand at all, like what it seemed like, Moses was mad. I didn't understand why, but now I understand.
Yeah, because they didn't fulfill their duties as as priests, because they didn't eat the meat that they're supposed to finish the purification process for the Israelites.
Okay, all right, on to chapter 11. All right. Clean and unclean foods.
Let's do it.
Fun. Okay. The Lord spoke to Moses and Aaron, saying to them, speak to the people of Israel, saying, from among all the land animals, these are the creatures that you may eat. Any animal that has divided hoofs and is cleft-footed and chews the cud, such you may eat. But among those that chew the cud or have divided hoofs, you shall not eat the following: the camel, for even though it chews the cud, it does not have divided hoofs. It is unclean for you. The rock badger, for even though it chews the cud, it does not have divided hoofs. It is unclean for you. The hare, for even though it chews the cud, it does not have divided hoofs. It is unclean for you. The pig, for even...
Well, okay, so 5 doesn't actually say hare. It's supposed to say, like, rock badger.
Oh, it says rock badger above that for me. 5 says rock badger, and then 6 says hare.
Oh, shit, it does say hare. Oh, I was not on the same... Yeah, I was behind you for some reason.
The pig, for even though it has divided hoofs, it is cleft-footed. It does not chew the cud. It is unclean for you. Of their flesh you shall not eat, and their carcasses you shall not touch. They are unclean for you. Now, this is a verse that Justin likes to use, and other apologists, counter-apologists, and the rock badger. Yeah, because they don't chew cud.
Right. I believe
my audio is reversing. Do people have an echo right now?
No, you're fine.
I do not.
I think it just depends on like people's own internet access, and like it can be spotty. It just depends.
Okay.
I was gonna say, so here's the issue: the rock badger and the hare. And I love Justin, and he's gonna push back on me, and that's okay. Obviously, they are not true ruminants. They like cows that do chew their cud, but because of the way of their sideward chewing, the way that their mouths moves when they're chewing, it gave the appearance of of chewing the cud, even though they weren't, the way their jaws moved. So because of that, this gave like the impression that they are incessantly chewing food, and because of that, it was thought that they were chewing their cud, even though they were not. They were
and
not
and
chewing their
and
cud.
that's where even I would push back, because I would be like, if you're a God giving these commandments to Moses, then you know that they
Yeah,
don't
you're
chew
supposed to know
cud.
this.
And so
You should know this. But in actuality, the reason that this law, and a lot of the law code that you're going to see in Leviticus is from other law codes, like Hammurabi,
Right.
etc.,
Right.
etc. So, like, what they're doing is saying, we are looking, and this is not God, by the way, just so y'all know. I mean, I know you know, but like for anybody who's
Right,
listening,
right.
this is not God. What is happening is people went, hey, the pigs eat everything. That's gross. We're not going to eat this
Yeah.
thing because it eats carrion, it eats all kinds of manner of, you could give it anything and it'll eat it. So that's gross. We're not going to eat that. We're not going to eat vultures because they eat dead things and that's gross. So we're not going to eat that. And then this is like, well, you could kind of like see, it looks like, because they always look like they're chewing, they must be like cows. They're not. So, and also we have to understand the access is limited to main domestic species, like permitted on the altar, cattle, sheep,
Right.
goats.
Right.
And then some are wild, but virtually.
You cut out from me. Can anybody hear Rabbi Hannah? Because she cut off for me.
No, Rabbi cut off.
Okay. We'll give her a minute. Thank you guys for all the follows.
That was
Thank you
interesting.
for joining us.
What Rabbi was saying up until that point. Did I hear correctly that this was not from God? Because I thought that all of Leviticus was supposed to be from
Well,
God.
here she is, and she'll explain what she meant by that.
So
Okay.
sorry, it kicked me. My connection kicked me. No, so what I
Okay.
mean is, oh gosh, sorry, I know people are going to get mad at me. None of Leviticus is written actually by God. Hopefully those in the room know that, right? That the law codes are written by men as a way to understand and kind of create a divide of culture between the Israelites and other, like Hittites, Hivites, Moabites. This is saying this is what we are going to culturally adhere to. The narrative imaging of saying it comes from God is what is supposed to give it like this legitimacy. But
Right.
like none of the text is from God. Like they're written by guys who are taking from other cultural norms in the Near East and kind of folding them into their traditions.
Sure, but I suppose if one were to come with me or come at me with a particular motivation to say that this is, the word of God and that everything written in it is true, like some sort of I forget what you call them. I'm losing my train of thought. But let's just say I could still sort of take it like contextually within the verses themselves to say, well, if it says this is what the Lord said, and you believe that that's what he actually said, we could sort of still use it as an internal critique.
Right.
I mean, absolutely. I guess I'll be honest, I don't understand internal critique only because I'm a Jew, I think, and so we're raised kind of like saying all the time, what the fuck? But yeah, no, I would say yes. One could say, hey, if you have this all-knowing, all-powerful God, wouldn't they know a hare and a rock badger actually doesn't chew like cud, and why would they say that? And ultimately, is God trying to give this kind of understanding of what is and is not unclean as to try and divide the people of Israel according to like purity? Like, I want you to be more pure because I want you to be holy, for I, your God, am holy, so I want you to be holy. And part of that holiness code is to keep you from eating animals or items that would desecrate the body. Like something that eats dead things as their primary source of food would be considered something that could desecrate the body, i.e. pigs, vultures, etc. You can't eat worms or shrimp, anything that would bottom feed or eat, like waste.
Then, if they would have just watched a rabbit for a little bit, they would have realized it ate its own poop, and they could have just said that. I'm just saying.
I don't know that hares do. I don't know that hares do, because hares and rabbits, while related, they are not the same.
Maybe.
I'm going to actually have to look that up. I mean, they might. I'm.
I could be wrong, but I thought hares do. Okay. Moving on. These you may eat all that are in the waters, everything in the waters that has fins and scales, whether in the seas or the streams, such you may eat. But anything in the seas or the streams that does not have fins and scales, of the swarming creatures in the waters, and among all other living creatures that are in the waters, they are detestable to you, and detestable they shall remain. Of their flesh you shall not eat, and their carcasses you shall regard as detestable. Everything in the waters that does not have fins and scales is detestable to you. Now, is this the verse that people use for not eating shrimp?
Yes, because they don't have fins and scales, but also these are like bottom feeders. These are things that we clearly understand. Well, clearly is that you can't eat things that are like feed off waste. So the swarming creatures in the water.
But aren't there some fish that do that too?
Yes, and we can only eat but it depends. So like I have a list of like what fish we're actually allowed to eat according to kashrut versus what fish we can't. So not every fish that has scales is, because it would be also then determined by if they're eating stuff they're not supposed to. Jews don't read the Bible, but they read the Torah. We read the Tanakh, is what you would consider the Old Testament. So like catfish, even though catfish have scales, because they are bottom feeders, they eat off the floor. We can't eat them. But we can eat, strangely enough, Leviathan is actually kosher.
Wow.
Yeah, my rabbinical students and I had that conversation a couple days ago. They're like, would the Leviathan be kosher? And I'm like, you mother... Why you gotta ask me this? And so like we went down that rabbit hole. So yeah, we
I like
cannot
catfish too.
Yeah, well, according to kashrut, catfish is not kosher because while it does have scales and fins, it eats off the bottom of the riverbank and things like that.
Yeah, and something I'd like to add too, when it comes to kosher laws, it's taken so serious that when you're Jewish and you go to, say, stay at a hotel room, right? You take so much of your own stuff. You can't use the silverware because you don't know if it's been defiled by touching something that's not kosher. So even if it's been washed, silverware have to go through a mikvah. Microwaves are generally okay because you can kosherize those. Yep, you can kosherize those. You can't use the sink. Can't use the sink because there's a whole kosherizing process for those. So, like, this is how serious we as Jews take kosher. It's not just the food itself, but it's the things that the food may touch.
It. Like, so in Los Angeles and Universal Studios, the Hilton up there is really, really busy all of the time because they are the only hotel in the area that has a kosher kitchen, meaning they have two separate kitchens. They have one kitchen that they use, of course, for your regular guests, and then they are booked all of the time from Jewish families who are having celebrations because they have a kosher kitchen where everything is separated. Everything has been looked over by rabbinical authority to make sure that it is kosher, plates, utensils, everything, and it stays separate from the rest of the other kitchen, including divided by wall. So Jewish families will book there for bar mitzvahs, bat mitzvahs, weddings, any kind of celebration because it's the only one in the area that offers that. That's how serious, yeah, Jews do take kashrut, especially if you're really like glatt kosher being like a really high observance of kosher. You even have different sets of utensils. Like I've been to homes where they have red utensils for meat food, they have blue utensils for milchev, like dairy, and then they will have green utensils for parv, meaning it can be used anywhere.
Okay. I actually, I have a lot of Christians when we have the conversations with them who don't realize that there are Jewish people who adhere to all of the laws even to this day. They think that, like, they don't do that anymore. And I'm like, have you ever been to New York City?
Yeah,
Because
like
what? You can't push a button on the Sabbath if you are Jewish.
if
You
you're
have to
yeah,
wait
if
for the
you're
elevator to come to your floor.
yeah, if you're like a Shomer Shabbat, then yeah, but you wouldn't be somewhere where you'd have to push an elevator button on Shabbos anyway. It
Yeah,
depends
right.
again on your level of observance in terms of Shabbat. Some people, that's why we make kind of the joke that, you know, you get yourself a Shabbos goy.
What's
Because
that?
a Shabbos goy is someone who helps you set up prior to the Shabbos, and if you need something done that you cannot do, they offer their services to come and turn on a light, turn off a light.
Oh,
It's more of
okay,
a
that's
joke.
cool.
People don't actually necessarily do it. It's kind of a joke among Jews. Just get yourself a Shabbos goy, you know. But
That's
the things
funny.
that we have worked around for Shabbos, like lights that never turn off. So you just turn this thing around so that it looks like it shut off, but we didn't actually light it because it was already on prior to Shabbos. We're just kind of
Oh,
covering it. Yeah.
gotcha. Hi, Forrest. How are you today?
Doing well. How are you?
Doing well. We are in Leviticus chapter 11, and I'm going to read, okay, we're verse 13. All right. These you shall regard as detestable among the birds. They shall not be eaten. They are an abomination. The eagle, the vulture, the osprey, the buzzard, the kite of any kind, every raven of any kind, the ostrich, the nighthawk, the seagull, the hawk of any kind, the little owl, the cormorant, the great owl, the water hen, the desert owl, the carrion vulture, the stork, the heron of any kind, the hoopoe, and the bat. The bat, because that's a bird. What? This is another verse that they use for the all-knowing God claim. Any comments or questions here for anybody?
Let me just go back here and look at it. Okay. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, so here.
So I can still have turkey.
Yeah, yes, we can have turkey. Just don't be eating bats
I
solo.
was going to say I don't eat any of those things. What's for supper? Oh, I'm making a hawk.
I had heard
Yeah.
an apologetic for the bat bird thing. I can't remember what it was.
Cyber just said that the actual Hebrew translation is like winged or winged creature. Is that correct, Rabbi?
Yeah, it's like winged, like it's also like winged insects. We'll see that like you can't have like winged insects. The fact only impure birds are listed kind of implies that the species of pure birds are innumerable because they only talk about the birds you can't eat. And then, of course, we have the winged insects. The reason for exempting locusts, however, is not clear. Like, you can eat locusts. It's very strange. Like, it's a weird... Like, there's no real understanding of why you can't eat...
I'll take a pass on that.
Locusts. Yeah, I mean, same. But, like, it may also then be related to just the pastoral life and in the pre-settlement period like when you had to subsist on its herds as well as sporadic visits of locusts. So, I mean, that is the kind of closest we get to an understanding of why you can eat this thing, like crickets, but you can't eat like any other kind of winged insect. But it doesn't really go into any bird that is kosher. Just shows you the birds you can't eat. Most of them are because of the fact that they eat anything. Like they are omnivores, but in that being omnivore, they will also eat of their own flesh. Like they will eat the dead of their own dead. You know, a vulture dies, other vultures will eat it. That kind of stuff.
Gotcha. All right, let's
Thank you,
get
Rabbi,
into
for
the
your knowledge. You
insects.
seem very well read.
This
I
is
hope so. I couldn't be a rabbi otherwise.
She is very well read, and she is a doctor, so she's well educated. All winged insects that walk upon all fours are detestable to you, but among the winged insects that walk on all fours, you may eat those that have jointed legs above their feet, with which to leap on the ground. Of them you may eat the locust according to its kind, the bald locust according to its kind, the cricket according to its kind, and the grasshopper according to its kind. But all other winged insects that have 4 feet are detestable to you.
Yeah, like you
They're all
couldn't eat
detestable to
spiders.
me.
You couldn't eat any like insects except like crickets and locusts and yeah. I like how it says bald locusts, as
I
if other
know.
locusts are rocking like a beetle haircut. Like what?
It's so wild.
Sorry, again, hopped up on the goofball, so I apologize for that.
No, it's true. Okay, I'm gonna pin my gift goal. You guys, if you could help me knock this gift goal out, I'd really appreciate it. If you're enjoying the live, if you're learning something today, make sure you're tapping the screen, sharing out the live, doing all the good things, and send my amazing panel some gifts as well, because they are amazing, especially Rabbi Hannah, who joined us this morning. I really appreciate
Toss a
her.
coin to your witcher.
All right, unclean animals. By these you shall become unclean. Whoever touches the carcass of any of them shall be unclean until the evening. And whoever carries any part of the carcass of any of them shall wash his clothes and be unclean until the evening. Every animal that has divided hoofs, but is not cleft-footed or does not chew the cud, is unclean for you. Everyone who touches one of them shall be unclean. All that walk on their paws among the animals that walk on all fours are unclean for you. Whoever touches the carcass of any of them shall be unclean until the evening. And the one who carries the carcass shall wash his clothes and be unclean until the evening. They are unclean for you. Okay, anything that we should know about that? Thank you, etc. Thank you, everybody, for gifting and sharing and liking and following.
So here we see that like bathing is kind of presumed, but impurity also needs time to like dissipate. Like so impurity has to have time to kind of go out into the ether. And usually the reason it's until evening, that's only in the case of like minor impurities. So like carrying one of these carcasses, taking it around, touching it, it would be considered minor, which is why it's only until evening, as opposed to when you will see some uncleanliness that requires you to leave camp and like go away for 7 days and then come back, burn your shit and like get, wash and start over, or get new clothes. And then
Okay.
yeah, so and then of course washing the clothes is, already once again it is implying that you're bathing, but you're also then tending to your clothes. And some of this, in Near East culture is, I don't want to say ahead of its time, but a little bit. Bathing, it was kind of a novelty, so here's this culture saying, you have to wash your clothes. You can't put your hands on your junk and then eat food. You need to go and wash your hands before you eat. You need to make sure that you're clean, because we've noticed that you can spread disease. You can become dirty, and then God says, hey, I am holy, you should be holy for I am holy. So this is just kind of that merry-go-round of all of this is an attempt to lift the mundane to the sacred and making sure that these people stay within the holiness codes and the cleanliness codes of their tribal affiliations.
Because God doesn't touch his junk and then eat, so he doesn't want you to do that. Okay.
There's an image I didn't need. Let me just say, I am like, I didn't think of that, but now I'm picturing God scratching his balls and being like, I need a hot dog. Like, I don't know how I feel about this.
Okay, we'll move on then. All right, verse 29. These are unclean for you among the creatures that swarm upon the earth: the weasel, the mouse, the great lizard according to its kind, the gecko, the land crocodile, the lizard, the sand lizard, and the chameleon, and the charmander. No, that's not in there. These are unclean for you among all the swarm. Whoever touches one of them when they are dead shall be unclean until the evening. And anything upon them, any of them falls when they are dead, shall be unclean. Whether an article of wood or cloth or skin or sacking, any article that is used for any purpose, it shall be dipped into water, and it shall be unclean until the evening, and then it shall be clean. And if any of them falls into any earthen vessel, all that is in it shall be unclean, and you shall break the vessel. Any food that could be eaten shall be unclean. If water from any such vessel comes upon it, and any liquid that could be drunk shall be unclean. If it was in any such vessel, everything on which any part of the carcass falls shall be unclean. Whether an oven or a stove, it shall be broken in pieces. They are unclean and shall remain unclean for you. But a spring or a cistern holding water shall be clean, while whatever touches the carcass in it shall be unclean. If any part of their carcass falls upon any seed set aside for sowing, it is clean. But if water is put on the seed and any part of their carcass falls on it, it is unclean for you. All right. Oh, she had to go. I have so many questions. Thank you, Solo, for coming up. Thank you, Rabbi Hannah. Oh, man. So what I'm getting here is like, let's say a spider falls in, because spiders, or a lizard, in California we have lizards, like gets into a bowl or something. I have to smash that bowl. I can't just wash it because the animal is unclean to me, right?
Yeah, it seems like there's sort of like a spiritual tarnishment that is like following the person or even the objects sometimes that are like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So is that right, Rabbi? Like, let's say I found a lizard in a bowl I use or whatever, I have to smash it, right?
Yeah, because you have to remember these bowls at this time are clay. So they're porous in nature. So any kind of unclean thing is seeping into the structure of the bowl, the plate, the utensil. And so the idea that you could purify it, there wasn't really a way to purify it at this time. Nowadays, if something like this would happen, we would just do what we call tovela, and that is where we would either, depending on what it is, we would hit it with a blowtorch, or boiling water, to rekosher it.
Is there a sense, Rabbi, for this sort of like spiritual tarnishment or something, for it to like occupy the physical land that the people
Yes.
live in?
Yes. So
like,
there was an idea that the land itself could be polluted, like that the things that we do as humanity could in fact lead to the pollution and iniquity of the land you live on.
Yeah, it seemed like some of the Old Testament prophets viewed that as an explanation for some of the hardships that the Israelite people went through, as like the physical land itself reached like a critical mass of iniquity and like pushed them out or something. I not
You're kind of breaking up for me. I don't know if you heard that.
Oh, I thought it
Rabbi,
was just me. Yeah, no, there is a lot of breaking up. Um, yeah, so that's also where, like, obviously we'll get into and we'll see later in Leviticus, like 18:22 and 20:13. Those are really based on the idea of, well, one is like forcible, a lot to do with social hierarchy and capital, and then also this idea of the land becoming polluted itself.
All right. Verse 39. If an animal of which you may eat dies, anyone who touches its carcass shall be unclean until the evening. Those who eat of its carcass shall wash their clothes and be unclean until the evening, and those who carry the carcass shall wash their clothes and be unclean until the evening. Now, I think that we've talked about this, like I think you said a little bit earlier, but when you wash your clothes, like you're washing yourself too. Like, did they do it
Yes.
all as one thing? Did you go in fully clothed, or do you take your clothes off? I mean, like, what?
You know what? I will be honest. That one I don't have a necessary like explanation for. So because it isn't very clear on the likelihood that but I mean, it could be either way, that you were taking your clothes, getting undressed and washing them while you're washing yourself, or that you literally were just going in with your clothes on and in that act attempting to wash both things at the same time. There isn't really a clear answer for that one.
And part of this would be where Christians get baptism from, though, right?
Like, yeah, sort of. They get it from the idea of the mikvah, which is when somebody is unpure, they are going through this into living water. That's why we still do that in our mikvahs. It has to have a certain amount of, like, what we would call living water. So it has to be from a stream, a river, the ocean, something like that, as part of a purification ritual that would render one repurified.
Okay.
I have just a quick side question. Do you, Rabbi, recommend any commentaries on the book of Ezekiel? I'm fascinated by that book.
You know what? Hold on a second. Let me, I'll get back to you. So I will pull them up, and that way Crystal can continue, and then I will be happy to tell you about them.
All right. I'll finish up 41 and through 47, and then hopefully she'll have those pulled up for you. All creatures that swarm upon the earth are detestable. They shall not be eaten. Whatever moves on its belly, and whatever moves on all fours, or whatever has many feet, all the creatures that swarm upon the earth, you shall not eat, for they are detestable. You shall not make yourself detestable with the creatures that swarms. You shall not defile yourself with them, and so become unclean. For I am the Lord your God. Sanctify yourselves therefore, and be holy, for I am holy. You shall not defile yourselves with any swarming creatures that moves on the earth. For I am the Lord who brought you up from the land of Egypt to be your God. You shall be holy, for I am holy. This is the law pertaining to land, animal, and bird, and every living creature that moves through the waters, and every creature that swarms upon the earth, to make a distinction between the unclean and the clean, and between the living creature that may be eaten and the living creature that may not be eaten. Every single time he says, because I'm the God who brought you out of Egypt, it just reminds me of a mom who likes to guilt trip her kids.
Like, how do you think Jews are all made of guilt? Where do you think we got this? Hey, remember when I took you out of Egypt? Huh?
Yep.
Yeah, like,
I brought you into this world.
pretty much. Yes. Why isn't my computer coming up? Damn it. I'm trying
That's
to pull
okay.
up
While you do that, did you have anything else on that part I read that you wanted to share while you pull up those books?
No, that's really it. It was kind of, these purity codes were meant to separate the Israelite people from other nations that resided among them, and to create a sense of belonging, and hey, we have these laws we live by, and almost kind of like that makes us better. Like, our God makes us better. I mean, but that's kind of the nature of the Near East. My God is bigger than yours. My God can beat up your God. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
My dad can beat up your dad.
Yeah, exactly. My God's bigger than your God. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and read 12 while you keep bringing it up because it's a very short chapter, and this is the purification of women after childbirth. So here we go. The Lord spoke to Moses, saying, "Speak to the people of Israel, saying, if a woman conceives and bears a male child, she shall be ceremonially unclean 7 days, as at the time of her menstruation she shall be unclean. On the 8th day, the flesh of his foreskin shall be circumcised. Her time of blood purification shall be 33 days. She shall not touch any holy thing or come into the sanctuary until the days of her purification are completed. If she bears a female child, she shall be unclean 2 weeks, as in her menstruation. Her time of blood purification shall be 66 days." I'm not really sure, like, why is it longer for if she has a daughter?
You know what? That has always been a question I've had too. Let me see. I think I have a commentary on this one too that I look at.
And correct me if I'm wrong, the reason why 8th day is significant in circumcision because the 8th day would be completion, right? It signifies
Yes, yes. So like we have the 7 days, and the 7 days is like, well, the 7 days is like completion, but 8 days is like the fulfillment of.
Okay.
So we get. Oh, hold on a second. Where's that? Let me grab a commentary here. Yeah. Oh, yeah. The impurity basically after childbirth, of course, 7 days following the birth of a male child, 14 following that of a female child. That means no relations are allowed. An additional, of course, period of 33 and then 66 days, respectfully, contact with sacred spaces, objects is prohibited. That sacrifices are brought only after the impurity has totally disappeared is proof. Kind of the function is not to ward off evil or even to heal the individual. Rather, their function is to remove ritual impurities from, again, the area. The rite is scaled to economic circumstances, meaning, like, if you're poor, you might bring a pigeon, you might be oil. And now the reason, the reason between the disparity of the sexes isn't quite known. So, like, we're still kind of trying to pick apart how come it's longer for the birth of girls versus the birth of boys, or AFABs and AMABs. And then the mother's postpartum blood flow kind of engenders a ritual impurity that can contaminate the sanctuary for which purification offering is mandated once she's done and completely healed.
Yeah, I'm with Anuka. I think misogyny might explain it a little bit.
Just maybe slightly.
Okay, let me finish chapter 12 here. When the days of her purification are completed, whether for a son or for a daughter, she shall bring to the priest at the entrance of the tent of meeting a lamb in its first year for a burnt offering, and a pigeon or a turtle dove for a sin offering. He shall offer it before the Lord and make atonement on her behalf. Then she shall be clean from her flow of blood. This is the law for her who bears a child, male or female. If she cannot afford a sheep, she shall take 2 turtle doves or 2 pigeons, one for a burnt offering, the other for a sin offering, and the priest shall make atonement on her behalf, and she shall be clean. What did she do that made her not clean by giving birth to human life? And what is the sin?
So she is not unclean herself. It is blood is viewed as unclean. So all blood is thought of as being an unclean substance. So because after birth, of course, we know that female presenting people, or just like people with uteruses, bleed continuously for up to 6 to 7 weeks. That blood is what is impure. So she herself is not impure, but the blood is. And because of that, she goes to what we would now say is the mikvah. And that is something that still exists even now. So after a woman's menses is over, she would go to the mikvah go into the mikvah and then come out of the mikvah as a way to say that she is now prepared her body for re-engaging with her spouse or her partner.
You know,
et cetera, et
God
cetera.
could have just made it so we don't bleed.
Man,
I
that'd
mean,
be
I'm
nice.
just saying. You know,
I could do without all of the emotions and all of the ups and downs and all the you love me, no you don't, piss off, no come here. Like I could just do without all of that. Like that'd be awesome.
And I don't know why there needs to be a sin offering either. I don't.
But okay, but this isn't sin. I know it gets translated to sin, but it's not actually a sin. So there's like talking about het, which is like it's translated to sin, but really it's just like something you can't control because you can't control that you bleed is impure. So like she's not responsible for the fact that her body does what it does. It's how her body was made. So it's not that she is something terrible. It's that the blood is. And part of it, I cannot believe I'm going to say this, Buzz was sort of a backwards attempt at protecting the woman from being harmed during a really uncomfortable time. Like, because you're still in a lot of pain once you give birth. So part of this, even though it is very misogynistic, was a way for these people to say, hey, she's in a lot of pain. Leave her alone. Allow her to heal and be okay before you try pushing her for anything. Absolutely ass backwards. But they thought that they were kind of helping her, even though they definitely were not.
Is it the case that I can imagine in my head that these sort of cultural practices existed, kind of cropped up around blood because it's icky, and that we need to make ourselves ritualistically clean. And then after these have been a cultural practice for a while, you have the Genesis account explaining why it's the case that women bleed. Because it seems like the Genesis account of like what Christians would call the fall and Adam and Eve being tempted, and then Yahweh's punishment is like making women bleed every month. Does that...
Yeah, I mean, that is kind of part of it. So, like, if you notice at the beginning of Genesis, she's told that she will now have pain in birth. That she will have pains during childbirth and that, you know, her desire will be for her husband, which does not mean what Christians think it means, and that always pisses me off. 3:15 does not say that. Okay. But anyway. And so,
that's one of the worst prophecies, I agree.
Like,
so-called prophecies of Jesus.
That. So the 3:15 is like your desire will be for your husband and he shall rule over you. And so that is not what it means. People take that the man is the head of the house and he gets to say whatever he wants and you have to do it. It's literally only talking about sex. Your desire will be for your mate and he will be on top and you will want him. And this is giving you license to say you want him.
Oh.
This is one that Joel Reed's Bible likes to use to prove that God also did not know everything, because he's like, but do all women actually desire their husband?
No, absolutely.
And
this is
why do lesbians exist?
Right. And so I would say really it is like partly it's also a gendered language. Hebrew is a gendered language. So we don't have neutered nouns or pronouns within Hebrew. Now there is called the non-binary Hebrew Project. I love them. I work with them. They are trying to expand Hebrew language to include like they, them, and non-binary language. But it is an ongoing process. So the life is in the blood. That is what the text says. That this is also why you're not allowed to tear off the limb of an animal and eat it raw. That you have to completely take the blood out of an animal before you eat it, is because the life force is in the blood, and ingesting that is an impurity. So anything to do with blood is an impurity, and I am so sorry. I know I was going somewhere, but thank you to the stroke, I've lost it. I have no idea what I was trying to say, and for that I deeply apologize.
Okay. You do not need to apologize.
Oh no! Plus I'm hopped up on the cold pills, so like I'm
Me
not.
too.
When I say goofballs, guys, it is completely legal cold medicine. Let me just say.
Yes, she's not well today. She is sick. So everybody pray for the rabbi. I'm sorry, that was a bad joke, atheist.
No,
I
you're fine.
apologize.
People should pray for other people who have to deal with the rabbi.
That's probably true. Forrest, did you have other questions about this that we've talked about so far today?
Definitely
Yeah,
ask
Rebel
away.
Rabbi.
And I do have some commentaries for you, Forrest, whenever you're ready. I can either message them to you, or I can just let you know here in case anybody else wants to also check them out.
Yeah, I'm ready to write them down if you got them.
Yeah, so the Anchor Yale Bible commentaries have books about Ezekiel 1 through 20 and then Ezekiel 21 through 48. And that author is Moshe Greenberg. Now,
Okay,
this would
that's the
be
one I found. Okay, great.
Yeah, so it is definitely aimed towards like advanced students and scholars. It is Hebrew focused, linguistically and historically rich, and does have a lot of theological nuance. Now, there is another one, the Book of Ezekiel, the New International Commentary on the Old Testament by Daniel Block. It's scholarly, but it does lean kind of towards Christianity. So then you have Ezekiel, the Hermeneia Commentary Series by Walter Zimrili, sorry. It is German critical tradition. It is scholarly, very detailed, but it does lean into the German critical tradition. So it gets into really deep, like exegesis, source critical, and form critical standards. And it is very academic. It's somewhat dated, though, in the terms of its methodology. So think about that.
Okay, I appreciate that so much.
And no, it's completely the Old Testament Library series by Catherine Pfister-Dar. It's kind of a blend of Pfister, so like Pfisterer, Pfister-Dar. And it's like if you want to blend between like accessibility and like insight, that would be a really good primer.
I need something more introductory.
No one is dumb. Yeah, so that would be a really good one if you're just looking to kind of get your feet wet.
Okay, well, listen, you guys, we're going to wrap it up for today. Thank you for this warm welcome back that I had. I went to Texas for a couple weeks, visited the grandbaby, and had a lot of fun. But I'm back. I will be live tomorrow night with Joyful Apostate at 4 p.m. Pacific time. I hope you guys will join us. We have exciting news to share with you. So if you can, join us tomorrow at 4 p.m. Pacific time. And then I am so excited to announce that Saturday at 9 a.m. I will have Dr. Blitz as my guest for Decon Q&A with CrystalJae. That's where you get to come up, you get to ask the questions, and I'm thinking of doing a special version of Divine or Decline. I'm looking at, you guys tell me what you think about this. I was thinking about doing science discoveries and things that people claim are miracles, and he has to decide whether it was a science discovery or a miracle claim. I thought that would be kind of fun.
I do follow Dr. Blitz. I love him, and I think I'm just going to have to ask him the standard question I ask everybody, which is, who is Kaiser Soze?
Yes, please come up and ask Dr. Blitz that question. Also, if you haven't joined my Discord, the link is in the bio, and I'm just getting it set up. I'd love for you guys to join over there. And yeah, so thank you so much, Forrest. Thank you, Rabbi, for joining me. And everybody in chat, thank you for joining me. I hope I will see you guys on Thursday over at Joyfuls.